So okay, yeah. So now getting into like the meat of the council now, right? Yeah. So in what is to be done, I would say that Lenin's basically, or like, there's two main points that Lenin's getting on, which is one, the question of party organization, and then two, on the question of consciousness or whatnot, right? So in regards to, so you know, I guess Lenin's, or like, I guess just delving into like Lenin's like arguments or whatnot regarding like party organization, and then what, you know, the points that he makes on consciousness or whatnot is starting with, I guess, in regards to, you know, party leadership. As Lenin sees it, the necessity for a vanguard, or the necessity for like an organized party leadership or whatnot for the proletarian struggle for socialism, is to preserve and advance the consciousness of the workers or whatnot, right? So it's like, so, you know, talking about Lenin's leftism or like Lenin's like in some sense Marxist critique of Marxism, because so I guess taking a little step back, when we talk about Lenin, Luxemburg, Trotsky's leftism or whatnot, right? Leftism in the Second International themselves being to the left or whatnot, what makes Lenin, Luxemburg, and Trotsky the far left is that all three of them are offering a Marxist critique of Marxism or whatnot. And like the reason why I'm saying Marxist critique of Marxism in some sense is like, because Marxism is all about critique or whatnot, right? So when we talk about Lenin's Marxism, Trotsky's Marxism, Luxemburg's Marxism or whatnot, what we're really saying or whatnot is that they're offering a you know, once again, a Marxist critique of Marxism. The first one, you know, the Marxist or whatnot, like theoretical critique of Marxism, the workers' movement or whatnot, or the workers' movement that self-identifies itself as Marxist or whatnot. So you know, Lenin's like left perspective of the whole purpose of the party or whatnot, Lenin recognizes that the vanguard party, or you know, like the whole purpose of the party or whatnot, is to preserve and advance the consciousness of the workers. It's not just an expression of the consciousness of the workers, but rather it preserves it preserves in some sense like the historical consciousness that the workers have, you know, gained or whatnot with time through their activity or whatnot, and also advances it or whatnot. It's to lead the movement or whatnot, right? Yeah. The second point is Lenin believes in like the reason why Lenin argues for a, you know, strict disciplined organization, or a like you know, like very committed or very like a very strict organization, is because you know, or like the reason why he argues for a strict organization or whatnot is to restrict opportunism or whatnot from entering into the party, or to like in some sense like fight against opportunist tendencies, you know, from getting, you know, from, you know, in some sense diluting the party or whatnot, or the purpose of the party or whatnot, right? You know, the third argument or whatnot is that, I mean, as this kind of prelude to Lenin's like, you know, in some sense, 1903, like Bolshevik Menshevik split, or this is kind of a prelude to like, in some sense, his argument with Martov or whatnot, right? Is, you know, also like, sorry, well, actually no, I'll deal with that later. In regards to party membership or whatnot, here it's in this book where Lenin has, you know, Lenin defines party membership as people who are professionally engaged in revolutionary activities or whatnot, right? You know, yeah. So I've got to repeat that once more. He defines party membership as people who are professionally engaged in party activities. So in some sense, someone who's really actively involved in the organization, and not just like, you know, in some sense like just a passerby who just like, you know, comes to the organization and leaves or whatnot, right? And three, and here, and four or whatnot, right? And here's where, in some sense, like Lenin, in some sense, is kind of writing a polemic towards like those in Germany or whatnot who might be criticizing like Lenin or whatnot, and like his more like strict approach to, you know, membership, or strict approach to you know, the party or whatnot. Is Lenin notes that like, hey, unlike Germany or whatnot, where they're working in a legal context in which they're a legal mass socialist party or whatnot, like in Russia, we're an illegal underground party. We're a minority, like again, you know, whereas in Germany or whatnot,
literally criminals.
right. Like whereas in Germany or whatnot, like they can be in the Reichstag. They're literally in the legislature or whatnot, right? Like, you know, they're a mass popular party or whatnot, right? And Lenin's like, hey, we're literally criminals. Like we are an illegal organization or whatnot. And Lenin's like, insofar as we are an legal organization or whatnot, legality conditions the scope of our membership by, you know, narrowing it, or like basically he says that illegality should basically condition the scope of our membership, in the sense that we should basically narrow what it means to be a member in our organization to prevent its own dissolution or whatnot, right? Because like the idea there or whatnot, that like if you allow for a broad membership or whatnot, right, like the police are gonna pick up or whatnot, right? Because it's like, yeah, like, you know, what's the whole point of like, you know, if ISKRA is supposed to be this like you know, whole network of like underground newspapers or whatnot being, you know, sent to like trade unions, to so like these social democratic organizations, to these like worker factories or whatnot. It's like, if anyone could become a member or whatnot, the police are gonna pick that up pretty quickly or whatnot and dissolve it or whatnot. So he's like, he's like, no, we need to have our membership be very narrowly defined or whatnot, right? In order for like, you know, our activity or whatnot to be like, you know, in some sense, like, so it could not be caught up or whatnot, right? In some sense, so like we don't get dissolved or whatnot, right? And this leads to his like next argument of he's like, hey, by having a much more concentrated membership or whatnot, right? By having a much more disciplined party or whatnot, right? What do you allow in the workers' movement itself or whatnot, like, is you allow for like a wider engagement of like working class folks and folks from other classes or whatnot who are like sympathetic to the workers' movement to engage in the struggle without having them be members or whatnot, right? So in some sense, it's like, hey, you're able to get like other people who are sympathetic to the, you know, who are sympathetic to social democracy. So I guess just for context for you or whatnot, maybe you already know this or whatnot, but like social democracy in this time or whatnot doesn't mean
it does not mean like
right,
the sinkhole that it does to
right, yeah. Social democracy isn't like where it means to do.
Yeah,
It's just like,
I knew that.
Okay, good. So yeah, social democracy at this time, like no, this is like Lenin, Luxemburg, Trotsky, they're all social democrats or whatnot, right? It's socialist called it like social democratic parties at this time are radical parties or whatnot, right? Or radical socialist parties or whatnot, right? So Lenin says like, hey, if you have a disciplined membership or whatnot, right? What do you allow or whatnot is you allow more people in some sense to like engage in the activities of our organization or whatnot without actually having to be a member or whatnot, right? You allow for a much wider scope or whatnot, right? During this time or whatnot, right? So this is basically his arguments for you know, party organization. The whole like the primary argument or whatnot, like what all of these 5 arguments are getting at is like, hey, through a disciplined organization, through a disciplined, strict organization, through a rigid organization, what you're able to do is you're able to legislate against opportunism, or you're able to legislate against the kind of like retardation of what's called of the Workers' Party or whatnot. And this kind of gets into our like next point or whatnot, which is like, you know, for Lenin, like what is the whole purpose of the party or whatnot, right? The whole purpose, like, you know, kind of getting back to the idea that the whole purpose of the party is to preserve and advance the consciousness of the workers and whatnot, right? You know, Lenin says a little bit more about, I guess he says a little bit more regarding the consciousness of the workers in the sense that Lenin says that like I guess taking a step back and giving like some clarification about Marxism. So for Marx and Marxists or whatnot, the understanding was like, hey, you know, the workers must imminently work through capitalism or whatnot, right? Like the struggle for socialism or whatnot has to come from within or whatnot, right? Actually, let me write that in there or whatnot, within and without or whatnot, or like have that kind of distinction drawn up or whatnot. So let me just write within, because it's kind of get into. So for Marx or whatnot, for Marx and Marxists or whatnot, right? Prior to like I guess this articulation by Lenin or whatnot, right? There's this understanding that like, oh yeah, the worker, like, you know, insofar as the workers' own activity constitutes capitalism or whatnot, like it's the workers themselves that, you know, will be able to like overthrow and overcome capitalism or whatnot, right? Lenin doesn't betray this understanding. Rather, he says that like, hey, he's like, yes, the workers are going to be the ones who overthrow capitalism. However, he says that like in regards to the consciousness of the workers, he says that the workers, or like, insofar as the workers' own activity or whatnot reconstitutes capitalism or whatnot, the best that the workers can, you know, the best that the working class can develop under capitalism or whatnot, or as he says, the best that the working class can develop under capitalism or whatnot is the immediate horizon for economic reforms within its own activity or whatnot. So let me repeat that once more. So the working class can only develop the immediate horizon for economic reforms within its own activity or whatnot, right? So like basically the best that it can do or whatnot in some sense is basically kind of trade union consciousness, or basically kind of this economist approach of like, oh yeah, like the best we can do or whatnot is like basically advocate for, you know, like, you know, fair wages or whatnot, or negotiate with their wages or whatnot. They can, you know, in the trade union struggle, the economic struggle. That hopefully this turns on. But you know, what Lenin says is like, hey, But what Lenin says is like, hey, you know, class consciousness or whatnot, right? Or what he says about class consciousness is that the working class can only develop the historical horizon for socialism from the political intelligentsia, or from basically from the socialist thinkers, from socialist thinkers or whatnot that are in some sense like outside of the class struggle of the workers against bourgeoisie. So if the workers are whatnot in their own activity or whatnot, right? If the class struggle between the workers and the bourgeoisie or whatnot is if the workers are in the class struggle between the bourgeoisie or whatnot and trying to like assert their bourgeois right against the bourgeoisie's own bourgeois right or whatnot, what Lenin says is that the historical consciousness for like basically the idea that like there is a world beyond capitalism and whatnot, that like the push for socialist consciousness, for class consciousness or whatnot, that can only come outside of the the working class or whatnot. That must be given, or that must come from the outside or whatnot, right? But let's be clear here or whatnot. Like Lenin's not betraying this immanent understanding in Marxism of that like it's the workers or whatnot that overthrow capitalism. He's not betraying that understanding. He's just saying that the class consciousness must be brought to the workers. It doesn't develop within the workers' own activities or whatnot. And I guess getting into kind of the more polemical piece or whatnot, because like what has he done or whatnot? Just like when we were reading Reform or Revolution or whatnot, it's not like this is not a piece that's directed. Or in some sense, this is not a piece that's like kind of directed towards the public. It's a piece that's written. It's party literature. It's something that's being circulated within the party. So, and that's kind of the thing. That's the reason why there's a lot of misreadings regarding Marx's text today or whatnot. Because people forget that the context in which these works are being written or whatnot is not for like the general public. These are being written within the parties or whatnot. These are being distributed like this is party literature or whatnot, right? Which is very alien to us today because it's not like you get like Democratic Party literature, like Republican Party literature. It's like maybe you might have, but it's not like as self-conscious as it is at this time or not, right? These works are like firmly party literature or not. And the reason why like Lenin's making this distinction between trade union consciousness and class consciousness or whatnot is because basically he's arguing with a confused intelligentsia or not. Because I guess something that's also going on in this time is like you have the workers or whatnot like overcoming economism on their own. So in some sense, like, doesn't that undermine like Lenin's whole idea of trade union consciousness? No, because Lenin's argument is like the reason why they're able to overcome this economism is because because of the party's activities, because of Istra, right? So I guess getting into like Lenin's more like polemical like argument here or whatnot, right? Polemical argument in the sense of like what he's actually arguing within the party or whatnot, or like within this party literature or whatnot, right? Like in some sense, like the reason why I'm saying it's polemical is because it's like this is not something that can be taken like at face value or whatnot, or like it can't just be superimposed like, this is what Lenin said, we can do this today or whatnot. It's like no. Lenin's writing in the context of being within a party or whatnot, in which like there is this kind of like conversation going on or whatnot, right? So Lenin's polemical point here or whatnot is like, hey, what is the whole purpose of the party? Insofar as the workers, and also, sorry, I guess one last note about class consciousness. Lenin's whole idea of class consciousness is not like some original idea that comes to Lenin or not. Rather, Lenin's making an observation of like, hey, like he said, like, let's look at like Marx and Engels, or like let's look at like the socialists like in 1848 or like in the 1800s or whatnot, right? Like the ideas of socialism preceded, they came before the workers' movement. They preceded the workers' movement or whatnot, right? You had the liberal bourgeoisie or you had petty bourgeois, you had the bourgeois develop the consciousness of socialism before the workers' movement actually occurred or whatnot. So with Lenin, the reason why he says that class consciousness needs to come from without the working class is because he's like, hey, so like the ideas of socialism developed before the working class movement or whatnot, and in the same way, like the only reason why they can be superimposed, or like the reason why they can be imposed onto the working class is because like Marx's own critical recognition is like, okay, well, who constitutes society? It's the workers or whatnot, and that that's the reason why the workers must lead the revolution or whatnot, or the workers need to be elevated to the class consciousness or like elevated to have class consciousness or whatnot, right? And I guess one thing I should note here about like trade union consciousness and class consciousness in regards to like I guess to the bad leftism of today or whatnot, right? Like because sometimes you'll hear people be like, oh yeah, I'm class conscious and class conscious. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Class consciousness refers to the consciousness of a class. Like you as an individual can't be class conscious. It's like no, class consciousness is once again the consciousness of a class or whatnot.
It's not an individual.
Right, it's not an individual phenomenon. Like when Lenin says like, oh, the best that the working class can develop is trade union consciousness. He's not saying like an individual worker when like in their day-to-day activities, like say it's like develops like a trade union consciousness. He says that like no, the workers like through their activity, through their organization, like the best they can do is like organize into trade unions or whatnot in the struggle for capitalism. But he says like the whole purpose of like a socialist intelligentsia or whatnot is to give them that political edge to say that like no, like you can go beyond the economic struggle and instead like seize power of the state and overcome your class position or whatnot, or abolish yourself as a class or whatnot. The whole purpose of the party or whatnot is, in some sense, is to preserve and advance this historical consciousness or imbue the working class with this historical consciousness or whatnot. So let's talk a little bit more about the party or whatnot, right? Because if it isn't clear by like me, I guess really stressing this difference between trade union consciousness and class consciousness or whatnot is within the workers' movement or whatnot. Within the workers' movement, in some sense, you have a contradiction, or you have you have a contradiction going on in the workers' movement, in the sense that you have, the workers or whatnot, and then you have the socialist intelligentsia or whatnot, right? These are two different tendencies or whatnot, or these are two. I'll call them these are two different antinomies or whatnot within the workers' movement. Socialist intelligentsia or whatnot, right? The socialist intelligentsia or whatnot that has the ideas of socialism or whatnot, or like that has the historical horizon for socialism or whatnot, that has this like historical knowledge of this historical consciousness or whatnot, and then you have the working class or whatnot who through their own activity constitutes capitalism and are also the people who can overthrow capitalism. So Lenin says like, okay, how do we overcome this contradiction between workers and intellectuals? He says that to overcome the contradiction of workers and intellectuals, it's not that you don't lapse into a workerism or whatnot, where you just say like, oh, intellectuals ought to become workers, or you don't try to like in some sense make the workers into like petty bourgeois. You say no. To overcome this contradiction between workers and intellectuals is you sublate them into becoming the party or whatnot. And what is the party? The party is an organization of full-time professional revolutionaries or whatnot, right? So the whole idea of a revolutionary or whatnot, in some sense, is to a revolutionary is basically the overcoming of the contradiction between a worker and intellectual or whatnot through basically the organ of a party. And again, I guess I should emphasize, this is not like an individual thing or whatnot. This is like I guess a much more sociological thing or whatnot, right? Or like it's a much more of a political horizon or whatnot, which is like the whole goal or whatnot is like, to become a revolutionary, or like to make basically the group of intellectuals and the class of workers or whatnot into a party or whatnot, right? Sorry, I butchered that a little bit, but I think I get the point across or whatnot. And I guess the last point here or whatnot is Lenin also has an understanding which is like the party is non-identical to the class, in the sense that Lenin understands that the party is not the class or whatnot. The workers' movement is not the workers' party or whatnot. Those are two different things. Because like at this time we're not like Lenin in some sense like preempts an argument or whatnot being made against him by saying like, oh, are you suggesting that the party substitutes the working class or whatnot, with this argument of like class consciousness comes from without? And Lenin's like, no. Like Lenin has an understanding that like, no. The party does not substitute the class. The dictatorship of the proletariat is not the dictatorship of the party or whatnot. No. The dictatorship of the proletariat is the proletariat, not the party. They're two different things, right? I guess one last time. The party is not identical to the class or whatnot. However, Lenin does understand that like what the party is the party is a representative for the class or whatnot, right? I guess saying that just in one phrase, the party does not substitute the class, but the party represents the class or whatnot, as the party comes from the working class or whatnot, right?
So the party is more kind of like a vehicle for working class
exactly.
And
it's an organ. It's not also I guess I should note here or whatnot. In some sense, this is the reason why because even though Lenin and Luxemburg are much more in tune with each other, whatnot, this is kind of the reason why people have misreadings or whatnot, and in some sense kind of misapprehend, or in some sense pity Lenin and Luxemburg against each other, where they're like, oh, Lenin was this vanguard party, was this vanguard party, militia, whereas Luxemburg was this party abolitionist or whatnot, right? And it's like no. It's the fact of the matter is that they were both working in different contexts, in the sense that in Russia or whatnot, you have a legal criminal party or whatnot. So the reason why Lenin's calling for the vanguard party or whatnot is to push and advance the revolutionary consciousness of the proletariat. Whereas for Luxemburg, what she's witnessing is the retardation of. Also, I'm not trying to say that as a slur or whatnot. I'm saying that as a. Let me use a different term.
slowing.
Yeah. Let me use a different term. because I'm just using this term because like it's in the literature and whatnot, but let me actually use it. It just came in my head now where it's like, oh, I shouldn't probably say that term. For Luxemburg, what she's dealing with is she's dealing with a deteriorating organization, like an organization that's growing. So, like, the difference is, whereas Lenin, like in Lenin's own context, the party is a vehicle for revolution. For Luxemburg, the party becomes an obstacle for revolution or whatnot. Because both Lenin and Luxemburg have an understanding that like the party is but an organ, or the party is but an instrument or whatnot, right? It's just the different contexts that they're working in. It makes it makes it so that for Lenin or whatnot, like it becomes like like the driving force or whatnot, whereas for Luxemburg it becomes the obstacle preventing an actual revolution or whatnot. If you remember when we were talking with her Nettle piece, I'm trying to think if there's any other notes that I should note here or whatnot before I end the recording and go to discussion. I guess, yeah, so I guess the two main points I'll just make or whatnot is, so, for Lenin, the significance or like the whole purpose of party organization or whatnot is to legislate against opportunism or whatnot, and legislate against the deterioration of consciousness within the workers' movement, and the whole purpose of the party or whatnot is to hold on to and advance the historical consciousness of the workers. In some sense, like I would actually kind of say, I actually think class consciousness is a bad term or whatnot, because it's less of a class consciousness and it's more of a historical consciousness or whatnot, or because it's more about the historical. Because like in some sense, the I'll make this note. In some sense, it makes more sense to call it trade union consciousness class consciousness, because in some sense it's like what it means to say the reason why is because it's the idea that like it's the proletariat reconstituting themselves as a class or whatnot, right? The best that they can do or whatnot is just imagine like, okay, how do we elevate ourselves as a class or whatnot, right? But the historical consciousness, or the class consciousness, but the historical consciousness of the proletariat or whatnot, what Marxism is all about or whatnot, is about the abolition of the proletariat coming to power to abolish itself as a class, and subsequently all classes therefore. So, yeah. Because as a historical task, this is what all of history has been leading up to. Yeah, I guess I'll